Okay guys, this is going to be the last video I make talking about Death Stranding until I finally get the game in my hands and play it for myself. I am very excited, as you all know, and I felt that this was an important video to make, and I've been saving this video right before I actually get into the game and play it for myself, because the next video I make after this, I'm still thinking about how exactly I want it to be done, but it's going to be talking about my experience with the game, probably a impressions video and then a final review video. I don't want to just, do one single video because it's a very long game, so I want to be able to at least let you guys know what I think of it, maybe with my first 10 to 20, 30 hours maybe. I mean, it seems to me like it's a very long game based off of everything we heard. It is also a slower paced game, so it's going to take a little bit of time to ramp up. I'm well aware of this, so I wanted to make this video to go over something that I think is important, because I want it to be known that even though I am very much positive and feeling good about Death Stranding, and I'm going into it with a very positive mindset, a very open mind, and very much with the mindset that I've enjoyed the Metal Gear Solid games in the past, and so I'm anticipating that I will enjoy Hideo Kojima's latest game. But I don't know that for sure, and I'm not going to know until I play it for myself. And so this video isn't going to be me talking about why I think I may like it, why I may not like it, what I think looks awesome, what concerns me, because we talked about that. It's going to be focusing on one thing in particular that I need to stress, because this is important. It's important to me, and it matters to me enough to where I need to give it its own video. Now, I have talked about this before, and I'm not going to make it sound like I haven't, but it's incredibly important, in my opinion, for me, to talk about this before I play the game, because, again, I don't know what to expect. I could very well end up playing this game, putting 40 hours into it, and being like, this isn't the game I thought it was going to be. It turns out I'm enjoying it a lot less than I had anticipated. Now, I'm not expecting that, again. I feel like that's not fair. I want to remain positive, and I'm still very much excited. But, again, we don't know. I don't know. I can't say for sure. But there is one thing I do want to say for sure. I apologize for the build-up here, but Sony this generation has done something absolutely incredible that I feel foolish for not backing it up sooner. I do have a history with PlayStation. A lot of you who've been on the channel for a little while here know that, with me talking about it, how I kind of strayed away from it for a while, really got super heavy into Xbox, and Xbox just continually let me down time and time again, to where I was like, towards the end of this generation, or the late half of this generation, I started to realize that I was missing out on some amazing experiences that PlayStation was offering, and that became abundantly clear to me. And anybody who's been watching my content over the past year, you will see that I have really been enjoying myself. It's been quite overwhelming in a very good way with the amount of games I've experienced that have really just blown my mind in some ways. And I've just been very, very impressed. And one of the things that has impressed me the most about Sony this generation is their willingness to take risks, to do things differently. And that is the most important aspect of Death Stranding, that I feel like Death Stranding should get, I guess we could say, an A for effort in this area, where it's like, even if the game doesn't come off as incredibly fun or that great to a lot of people, I feel like one of the reasons why people seem to be so confused as to why it's still getting praised so much is because there is something to be said in this medium, in this industry, when things are just so commonly copy and pasted and ideas are recycled left and right. There truly is something to be said for a publisher such as Sony to take the risk and to invest the money, and for a creator like Hideo Kojima and his team that backs him up, and everybody involved in it, to just be all in on this idea of, this is an experiment, this is something new, this is something different, and it may totally blow up, but we are going to take it and we are going to commit to it. And even Sony has proven that they have committed to it, and that, I applaud that. Regardless, at the end of the day, of how I end up feeling about Death Stranding, in terms of whether I enjoyed it as a video game, whether it ended up disappointing me, or whether it ends up blowing my mind and being my personal game of the year, what matters most to me is the fact that this is Death Stranding, that is, encapsulates what Sony has been doing this entire generation, what they do best, and why it separates them from the competition at the end of the day. This is where I know a lot of people consider me like, oh, you're just a PlayStation fanboy. The only reason you now talk about PlayStation and you hype everything up that's PlayStation and you get overly excited for it is because you get more views, you get more clicks, and you get more of an audience. And I will say this, it is fantastic ever since I embraced PlayStation to see how much my audience has grown, and I'm very grateful for it. It's awesome to see the excitement and how people seem to really enjoy certain content I make, but you have to understand that I didn't anticipate that. I had no idea that was going to happen. It's not like somebody whispered in my ear, hey MBG, if you do this, this will happen. That's not how things work in life pretty much ever. I just did it because I realized that there's some games that PlayStation seems to have out here that I can't hold off on any longer. Everybody's telling me I need to go play these games. I did it, and it turned out it was one of the best decisions I've made. I've made plenty of videos talking about this, but this right now, shortly before Death Stranding comes out, right before I finally get to play it myself, needs to be said that at the end of the day, I will always give credit where credit is due, in my opinion, right? And in this case, Death Stranding could be the worst game I ever play, gameplay-wise. It could be. I don't know. Again, not anticipating that. But if it is, I will still applaud the game for taking that risk, for, just taking that dive. And when you think about PlayStation this generation, they have been backing single-player story-driven games at a time when most other publishers are out here saying we only care about getting the quick buck and cashing in on things such as games as a service. Now, here's the thing. I'm not bashing multiplayer gaming. I'm not trying to bash games as a service per se, because they can be done right. There are like live service games that if they're done right and fairly, they can be perfectly enjoyable, but we've also seen just how bad it can get out here with game publishers and how the industry has just veered so far off course in some ways where you have to just give Sony credit where credit's due in this case. And I think that something that a lot of people may not be understanding with Death Stranding specifically, and this is maybe riffing a little bit off of yesterday's video, but I have to say it because I know I said it yesterday, but I just want to be a little bit more precise in the way I say it. I think some people don't seem to understand that a lot of reviewers may not have enjoyed the game as much as they were anticipating, but at the end of the day, they are willing to say, you know what, this game, it does get maybe an extra point here or two for actually having the courage to take such a bold risk and do something so differently. Maybe it didn't stick the landing in the way we thought. Maybe in some ways it really just didn't live up to the expectation or the hype, right? But can we at least all agree that this is what the industry needs? It needs more risk-taking like this, because at the end of the day, people get tired of the same thing. People get tired of the recycled stuff. People get tired of publishers constantly playing it safe. That doesn't mean there isn't a place for these experiences, because of course there is. I play Call of Duty. I have no problem admitting that. I have no problem admitting that I love playing Call of Duty. I'm enjoying the most recent one. It has its flaws, but I'm enjoying it. I just platinumed it, right? But I'm also all about Death Stranding, and I'm willing to say, you know what? Here we go. Now, I understand that I can be harsh at times. I understand that. And this is not me apologizing for anything or taking anything I've said back in the past about games. But the truth is, there are just times in this industry where you can clearly see what a publisher is trying to do, what their end goal is. And let's not kid ourselves. The end goal of every publisher within video games is to make money. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when the problem occurs is, what are you doing to make that money? How are you trying to make that money? Sony has proven, and again, Death Stranding encapsulates this, that there is a right way to go about it, and there's a way where everybody can win. The gamer who cares about this medium, who cares about it more than just, maybe hopping online to play a couple sessions and that's it, that's the extent of their gaming. Nothing wrong with that. If that's the type of gamer you are, more power to you. Do what you enjoy. But for those of us who do care about this medium so deeply and act like we care so much about it and we are passionate about it, there is a reason why Sony has garnered the type of support they have this generation, why they have so much goodwill going into next generation. And once again, I have to end the video by saying Death Stranding is an important thing. That's one thing you will see that a lot of people, even those who did not enjoy the game, were sure to highlight the fact that they are glad, even though they didn't enjoy the game, that it exists, because it's a game that needs to exist. We need more risk-taking in this industry. I'm not saying every game needs to suddenly take these bold risks and take these chances and just, it's like constant innovation to the point where it's like, whoa, this is a little bit too much. I'm not saying that. But there's no denying that we need more Death Strandings in the gaming industry, not just from Sony. That's the whole point here. We need it from Microsoft. We need it from Nintendo. We need it from Bethesda. We need it from EA. We need it from every single publisher. And granted, all of these publishers have their strengths and weaknesses, but there are just some that have weaknesses and flaws that are so prominent and so easy to identify. And you can also, see the contrast with other publishers where it's so easy to identify what it is they're doing right, what it is they're doing great. And so at the end of the day, if Death Stranding, in my eyes, when I finally play the game, and I know how some people are going to perceive this, like, oh, this is just MBG covering his tracks. He's just making this video because now he's starting to doubt the game and he thinks he might not enjoy it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I have nothing but the highest hopes for Death Stranding. I'm very excited to play it. In fact, I can't stop thinking about it and talking about it. And I know that's how some people are going to perceive this video. But regardless of how I end up feeling about the game, because I could very well end up loving it, which I think it's safe to say that at the very least I'm going to enjoy the story that's told. It's nice to see that Sony is still delivering in this area and that they are willing to take the risk that is here with Death Stranding, because you know what? I don't see any other publisher putting out a game that's even remotely similar to Death Stranding. I don't see it. And I hope we do see it, because you know what? We need more of it. I have no problem with a game that's new, that's different, that's unique, that's trying something new. I have no problem, if a publisher wants to make a game and it ends up being a not so great game, but they're really trying to push for something different, I will always at least give them the credit. Hey, you tried something new. Maybe you didn't stick the landing, but good on you. We need more of that. That's how we get great things in the end. So that does it for the video, guys. Again, last one I'm making talking about Death Stranding until the game is finally out. The next video I make talking about Death Stranding most likely will be me giving my thoughts and impressions on the game. So let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. I will be interested to see what you guys have to say. Can we all at least agree on the fact that even if Death Stranding ends up, not being as good as we thought it was, or even if it does end up being our personal game of the year, that, hey, it's something new, and there's something to be said for that, and Sony has been doing certain things really well this generation, and Death Stranding is just more proof that they are continuing to do that and to take that risk. Leave your thoughts down below. Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it, or if you agree with what I had to say here. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.